Hi, my name is Katia Castellanos, and as usual, I would love to welcome you to the Random Format Show, the place where we speak with a local artist, introduce you to the faces of film, music, fashion, and overall culture of San Antonio. And today, as you know, we have a special edition which is dedicated to the coronavirus and its effect on our industry. That's why we're having a guest like Leah. Hi, Leah.
Hello.
To speak about how specifically it affected their business, their passion, and what they do. So Leah, tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you do?
Well, like she said, my name is Leah. I'm a local fashion student, and I own a small boutique in Blue Star Arts Complex called Divine Sunshine Vintage. We sell local art, local handmade jewelry, as well as vintage clothes from the 50s through the 90s.
Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit more. What brought you into the whole art industry? What made you pick this profession? Because I know you're a good friend of mine. I know it is very important to you, what you do. It is your true passion, and you dedicate all your entire essence to this, which is I admire a lot. Tell us a little bit more on how it all started.
When I was a teenager, I got very interested in sewing. My grandmother is a seamstress, and I was always there helping her sew when I was visiting. So I started making purses in high school and selling them to my classmates, and it just all kind of grew from there. I used to be in a band, write music, and art just always came naturally to me. I also like to do mixed media art and collage. So it's a kind of an interest in all art forms, really.
Mm-hmm. So you're open to any forms of art, that's what you're trying to say?
Oh, yes. I don't have any specific taste when it comes to art, and that's why my store is a very random spot. It's kind of, when you walk in there, it feels like you're walking into a teenager's bedroom. Just all kinds of random art everywhere, not hung in any particular sequence.
But I think it's all about the freedom of expression.
Exactly.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah, there's so many creative people in San Antonio, and it's just so amazing to be able to, see everybody's different forms of expression and be able to put that all in kind of one space and see like the story of local creative women in San Antonio.
Mm-hmm. And I know you told me before that for you it is very important to give that opportunity for the local female artists, and not necessarily designers, just artists in generally, to collaborate, to network. What does it mean to you?
Well, I think that mainly for me, I grew up with a lot of like hostility towards my artwork, and a lot of art teachers that didn't understand and kind of tried to hold me back, even in college as well. So I really try to really encourage all young people who come through the doors and ask questions about how to consign there or how to get their names out. We have so many conversations about just different types of ways to
Communicate.
Yeah, communicate your artwork, as well as start your own business and be independent. And really, like, there's a niche for everybody, and I don't feel like anyone needs to fit in one box to be an artist or to
Absolutely
be
agree.
able to benefit from that financially as well.
I think we, as artists, we have to pursue our own passion, and we have to really be truthful to ourselves. Because as an artistic person, you have to create, and not everybody is going to have the same style and the same concept. But that's the beauty of things. The beauty is really in the diversity and in the freedom of expressing yourself through fashion, art, or whatever it may be.
Yeah, exactly. And being able to kind of like communicate what you want to see in the world through fashion and through any art form and expression. That's a lot of what we're seeing right now in the world,
And I would like to ask you a question specifically about pandemic, because as a business owner, I'm sure you encountered a lot of difficulties running a business. From your perspective, what do you think was the hardest thing to overcome for you as a business owner?
Um, well, I think it's just the main part was the anxiety whenever things first started happening the first couple weeks. Just kind of had a meltdown and going back and forth between what should I do? Should I just go ahead and close my business? Is this going to end? So it was very hard to navigate, and it still is very strange. We just reopened last weekend, and trying to trying to get a feel for people and different levels of comfortability, and making sure that everything's clean. And it's a very interesting balance because not everybody feels uncomfortable, but some people do. And you don't want to tell people like, oh, you have to do this or you have to do that. So it's been very interesting and kind of hard because, you know, as fashion business owners, like we have nothing to do with health at all.
Exactly.
So it's
But
just
you have to care about your
exactly.
customers now more than ever.
Exactly. We closed down as soon as we could, as soon as we heard about this. And so I've really just been, you know, in my own world, in my head, trying to figure out how to grow from this, you know, and how to be able to survive, I guess.
What would be the lessons that you learned? Maybe there was something unexpected that never crossed your mind, that this pandemic situation and all the time that was given to you, you ended up with this time in your hands. You came up with a discovery. Like, what was it if it happened to you?
Well, for me, I think that I mainly just started to appreciate my life more and appreciate what I've been able to build for myself and build with these other people that contribute to my store, and how beautiful it really is, and how like things can be really short-lived sometimes, not saying that it's over necessarily, but it made me realize like that I don't need to keep myself in one spot, and I can expand what I'm doing, and it can be beyond the walls of just my store if that ended up being something that ends due to this. But really just appreciation for the art community, appreciation for First Fridays and things like that that we all really love. And you know, it's just such a huge opportunity that people are missing out on now. And so
it's all about being grateful.
Exactly, and the customers and just the beautiful things that people have had to say and contribute. It's amazing. So I think that I've just trying to be as positive as possible and just appreciate my life really, I guess, and see the benefits.
I really love your positive attitude, Leah. It's amazing, and I think it translates into your fashion as well. For all the people who haven't been to Divine Sunshine Vintage, it's now open, as far as I know.
Yes, it's open.
And you can come and visit Leah, check out her amazing styles. Find something for yourself and support the local artists. As you know, everybody is now in crisis, but I think together we really can make a difference in the community. And it's all about supporting each other, I think.
Yes.
And appreciating the diversity and the art in general.
Definitely. And we're also online right now as well at divine.sunshine.vintage.com. If you want to check that out as well, we'll be listing more things on there frequently.
So about the whole fashion industry, for you being a person who frequently does the fashion shows, who is involved in the whole industry of fashion, do you think the industry was affected? Do you think it has changed? And your thoughts on this aspect, what do you think?
Yes, definitely. You know, the fashion industry as a whole is an international business, and it requires a lot of different people and a lot of time. And so, you know, of course, the pandemic really has affected, you know, manufacturing and trade and all of that, as well as, you know, people's livelihoods. Like, people have been put in danger due to stuff like this. I read an article the other day about a woman who was afraid of the coronavirus in I think it was Indonesia, and her work ended up putting her in jail because she posted on Facebook about how she was afraid and she shouldn't be having to work in a factory making Michael Kors bags right now, you know? And so it's really like, the bad things are still happening, you know, and those are the things I think we need to pay attention to.
Do you think we as an industry really do have a voice at times like that? Because when all of the additional stuff falls away, we end up with the core of things. We see things a lot clearer, and all the social issues, the issues in the society, they come out, and we cannot deny them anymore. And what can we do to gain that voice, that freedom again?
I think what we need to do is we need to band together and we need to support local businesses and local artists and makers and people who make clothing. We need to invest more in that and put more value in that so that people overseas as well won't have to deal with this, because the more that people like us in first world countries put value on those things and those items and that time that people take to make those things, then the more this stuff doesn't happen, because it's in the view, it's like, no, this is wrong. You know what I mean? And so I think it's more just like putting the power in the hands of those people. And, you know, we've been talking about that a lot, you know, in the past couple weeks on social media, supporting people of color, supporting their businesses and their ventures and creativity, as well as, you know, females and transgender people. There's so many people who don't get the recognition they deserve. And this is the time to put that in the spotlight, you know.
Exactly.
And that's just continue to do those things, you know, and don't forget about that, because that's important. It starts with building those people up.
Absolutely, because if you're building somebody else up, you're building yourself up, and you're making a difference in not only a person's life, but the whole world in general. And we, as a random format, actually that was the whole idea of creating a show. It's a little prehistory, is to highlight the artists, local artists in San Antonio, and let people know that this city actually has a lot to give. It has a lot of raw talent, which deserves to be seen, deserves to be heard, understood, and accepted, and appreciated. So with joint forces, hopefully we can make some of a difference.
Oh, definitely. And I love that you've started the show.
Thank
and
you.
You're just thriving and glowing constantly.
Thank you.
And I love it.
Thank you, Leah. I love that San Antonio has artists like you and all the others, and that we can connect and we can join together at a times of you know, horror of this terrible pandemic. I feel like none of our lives is going to be the same after that, but we're going to grow stronger. We're going to learn a lot more things, and we will be able to pass that knowledge to the future generations.
Oh, definitely. We just have to keep appreciating each other and remember that this changes everything, and there's not any reason to be upset about the little things anymore. You know, like, really just appreciate the people that you're supporting as well.
We have to focus on the bigger things. Indeed. Indeed. That's what the entire world should be doing. And I think it's been happening. If you look at the situation, not only in United States or San Antonio specifically, but globally, people kind of, they stopped, and they had the time to recognize, oh yeah, there is something bigger than this. It got them thinking. Some of the people, they became anxious. It brought them a lot of anxiety. And I think the anxiety comes out of the situations when you're not sure or not in control, and not knowing where you're going. And that actually brings a good point. I was going to ask you, do you think that the fashion industry can make a difference in the way that we perceive the situation? It can make more of a positive outlook, that we can translate something good, something very important through fashion?
I definitely do, but I think it's more about being involved in the community and being involved in all the different things going on, but, you know, still keeping yourself safe. And I'm not really sure what I see when I see pandemic fashion, because, you know, the masks and everything.
It's been a big thing.
It's been depressing, honestly. And whenever I first started seeing people making masks, and as much as I appreciate them, I saw so many people doing that. I was like, I don't need to do that. And I just keep it simple with my masks. So I'm not really sure, honestly, as far as that. I just see it as really sad and scary, and it's hard for me to like translate that through my own lens of fashion, because I like happy colors, and I like flowers and things that kind of remind me of childhood, because I already had anxiety prior to all this. So to me, just like, I guess really just try to make people happy through what you wear, maybe. We're all kind of in a depressing time. Maybe it's time to bring out all the colors and
Exactly.
start having fun with it again, regardless of what's really happening.
Make a statement.
Exactly.
Because fashion really, what it does, it gives us the opportunity to make a big statement, to position ourselves as like a happy, serious, playful, joyful, all those different aspects of the human personality. And as long as the people can appreciate it or learn to appreciate it in the right manner, I think that it really can be the key to the situation.
Yeah, definitely.
And you mentioned that you've been dealing with anxiety, and I think it's been the top priority of the entire world for the person who's dealing with anxiety. So we open the door, we come outside, and all we see reminds us about the COVID pandemic. What would you recommend? How would you deal with that anxiety? What's your cure?
I think that the one thing that's positive that the pandemic has done, aside from the bad things, is giving people time to be creative, giving people time to really think about the world around them and the changes they want to make. And some people have really thrived from that. So maybe that's really what we need to learn from this, is just to slow down and to enjoy your life and to love the people that you live with, and your family and your friends and your neighbors, and really kind of maybe band together in those ways and encourage each other.
Unite, yeah.
Exactly. I think that's the way to do it, because everything is trying to divide us right now. And I think more now than anything, it's
do you think it's the issue that the people have, or was it brought in by the media? Because the media affects us so much. That's the first place where we turn to when we're not sure, because that's the way our system works.
I definitely think that there has been a lot of fear-mongering in the past. This particular situation, I personally believe it's real. Like, I've heard a lot of people saying that it's not, and that's why I
think
say that.
You cannot deny it
yes,
anymore.
Exactly. It's happening, and it's scary. So I understand people's anxiety and the media's anxiety, because they're just people too. And I think that they're being as honest as they can be about these things. And I think that what's really dividing us is the powers that be, and what they have to say about it, which is so starkly different from what most people have to say about it. Like, I feel like a lot of people's opinion aligns with the media right now in the right ways, but definitely it's one thing after the other, and
it's a positive trait?
Do you think it's positive? The way that the media is scaring us, or I don't think it's necessarily positive, but I think that it's
the way that the people are perceiving it, and the way that the situation goes. I really love to kind of bring the media in the picture, because if you think about it, it influences a lot of things.
Oh yeah, definitely. I definitely don't think anything that's going on right now would be happening without the media. But I think that we definitely still need to have a healthy dose of caution with everything. But I definitely think that it's a little much, and you should turn off the TV sometimes, and definitely just try to focus on something that's going to bring you joy. And because we know what's going on, it's continuing to go on until we hear that there's a true vaccine. Maybe don't pay so much attention to it right now, because you need some peace. I don't know. That's what I'd say.
How do you see the future, the way that things are going on right now?
How
do you see it? Let's say let's bring like a span, maybe 5 years. In 5 years from now, do you think this pandemic situation would be still a top priority, or would we be still facing the consequences of the pandemic situation right now?
I definitely think that we always face consequences in near future, and I'm not gonna pretend that I know what those look like far
So
far from now.
you're
But I
concentrating on the
just
present day more than anything.
yeah, I'm just hoping, that people can bounce back and that we can find a way, to continue doing the things that we love and gathering and everything without people getting hurt. But really, I just hope there's a vaccine. And I know that it's going to affect the economy for a while. But really, money's not the most important thing as long as we can all eat, right?
Yes.
So
We all
I
really
think
do not
we'll
need
be
a
okay.
lot to survive.
Yeah.
All we need is some inspiration, some food, some amazing clothing for the local artists to put on to make us happy. Some friends, some people that we love to fall back on. That's really it. And if we can have that, we can be grateful for a lot of things, like you said, and that's a key aspect. It really is.
Can I add one more thing? I think that this has also benefited our environment, and I've definitely had quite a few people notice just everyone being away from, outdoors for a while. The water's a little more clear. There's fish in the San Antonio River. There's butterflies. Just the flowers are growing tall. The skies were a little clearer for a while. So maybe we could learn from that too. Maybe there's a way that we can, create a more sustainable environment.
I love your
through
perspective,
that.
Leah. I really love your
We
perspective.
can learn from these things that are happening that we can't control, and we can take that back and empower ourselves in our environment to make it better for our children. And we can, like we've been talking about, focus on local people and focus on secondhand, because then maybe, we have enough clothes in this world to clothe everyone for maybe 10, 20 years probably.
Exactly. And about the whole fashion industry, about so-called recycled fashion, some people, I feel like it's a relatively new trend. Some people agree with it, some people disagree with it, about the fashion being really disposable, and that we have to really think ahead, we have to think through and make a change. What is your position on the clothing that's vintage, or the clothing that's been previously used and reused or recycled, redone? What do you think about it, as somebody who really does it?
I've always loved vintage clothing. I think that it's higher quality clothing. It lasts longer. So it really is sustainable in those ways, not just because we're reusing things. And it's good to reuse anything, doesn't matter if it's how old it is. But like fashion, just it goes round and round. It comes back constantly. So I don't feel like there's really a set fashion or style right now. And these days, it's all about being eclectic, and it's about being sustainable and being comfortable,
being different again.
Yeah, exactly. So we have all these things, and we should use those to our advantage. And also, these clothing, like the clothing has like spiritual property in my mind. Like I really believe that people have beautiful memories in these outfits, and if you wear them, like there's some kind of,
in a way, you get to relieve them.
Yeah, there's this empowerment that comes over me with certain items, and I feel like everybody has a different perspective, or things that bring them nostalgia, and they buy them because this reminds me of my grandma or my aunt, or somebody that I really admire. So to me, it's something bigger than that.
Something
it's like
bigger, yeah. It's definitely giving us
clothes.
It gives us the opportunity to express ourselves a lot more, because we can play with different eras. Like with your store, you have items ranging from the 50s to the 90s, and that's a whole fashion history right there. And you can pick and choose, and you can also get to know the history, not just fashion, just history, the world in general, and experience it for yourself. And it's an amazing thing.
Definitely, I agree.
Well, Leah, it's been amazing talking to you, talking about something we both love, about something that we stand for. I really love your opinion, your positive attitude. You really light up the room when you show up, and it's just so fascinating. I cannot get over it. But it's been a pleasure having you on my show today.
Thank
Thank you so
you.
much for visiting us. Always a pleasure to see you. I encourage everybody who sees the show to come and visit Leah at Divine Sunshine Vintage at the Blue Star Art Complex. The links are going to be in the description box.